Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel Trading Secrets. This channel is for entertainment purposes only. For those of you who do not know, my name is Ali. I have over 20 years experience teaching accounting, economics, business and law. Through this channel I'll be providing some stock analysis and a quick update on the $1 Million Challenge. So if anybody's not aware of this is a journey of an investment of $1,000 to a return of $1 million over a period of 3 years using a strategy called compound return investing. So the objective is try to get 201 trades, each with an average return of 3.5%. It's not 201 consecutive trades, we do take into account losses. So further details about how to join us for less than $10 a month, information is available in the description. Unfortunately, due to overheating of the equipment, I had to continue filming indoors, and in today's video we're going to be looking at MMTLP, and the focus is going to include updates from the Senate, Congress, and also an important legal update. So before we get started, let's have a quick look at what's happening in the markets. And we can see here the headline is Stock Slide as Recession Fears Buoy Haven Assets. So in terms of the haven assets, we're looking at government bonds, the dollar and the yen. So there are fears in the market. We have been seeing some significant red in the Nasdaq and in many of the key stocks, but hopefully this news is not yet confirmed, and we will wait and see. So before we make a start on the Congress and Senate updates and also the legal updates, a quick recap in terms of what we missed. So I'm sure you'll know that, many of you will know that I'm currently on vacation and still catching up as best I can with regard to the key developments, but I think this was an important development here with regard to one of the things to catch up on. And so shout out here to James O'Keefe, who has a significant following and will certainly get much more attention to our situation. And he stated here, have you heard of the MMTLP scandal? How is this different from the GameStop fiasco? I think this is much bigger than the GameStop fiasco, and what I've stated here is thank you for raising the MMTLP issue. This is potentially bigger than FTX, Madoff and the recent banking scandal, and I do believe we are getting closer to justice. And thank you, James O'Keefe, for being hopefully part of the journey to create free and fair markets for all, especially retail. So the next shout out here is to Investor Turf. So this is with regard to Congress, and he stated here, breaking news, MMTLP congressional investigation letter sent to Investor Turf by an anonymous user. So the name of the person has been blacked out, and he stated here, Investor Turf has stated, hi everyone, we love receiving your files, but to protect your privacy, we recommend blurring out any personal information. So definitely agree with that. So let's have a look at the letter in question now. So if we start with the first page, we can see here this is from the Congress of the United States, House of Representatives, and what is significantly important here, dated April the 3rd, 2023. This is addressed to George Palikaros, CEO of Meta Materials. So that is very important. So in terms of the headline here, it says Pete Sessions, member of the US Congress, member of House Committee on Oversight and Accountability, member of the House Committee on Financial Services. So this is quite prominent, and the reference with regard to this letter is oversight of capital market activities and data for potential reforms. So obviously I am expecting George to give a significant, detailed and lengthy reply to this, because obviously it was addressed to him. But let's have a quick summary in terms of what it states. It says, obviously, dear George, he's writing to enlist your help in assisting the U.S. Financial Services Committee, the U.S. House Oversight and Accounting Committee, and his office to gather data that will help looking at analysis, protecting shareholder interests, and potential legislative efforts to reform regulation, and also naked short selling rules. So I'm presuming here that George Palikaros will be very forthcoming with a reply. Obviously he's not going to share that publicly, but I'm confident that that will happen, because certainly it is in the interest of Meta Materials to comply with this fully, because success for MMTLP is inevitably going to lead to success for MMAT. Most investors were looking to invest profits for MMTLP to MMAT. One of the reasons why MMAT is not doing well at the moment is because of the current MMTLP situation. So it states here, several issues brought to attention with regard to the U3 halt. So that's important that they're looking at that, and also looking at MMTLP. Furthermore, he states here that the CEO of OTC Markets has publicly stated that there are indeed short shares that are trapped because of the FINRA halt. So the CEO of the OTC markets, I think that was imbecile number 3. Additionally, there are also concerns with regard to the MMTLP shares issued by NextBridge, and we're looking at approximately 165 million. So this is obviously raising the issue of synthetic shares. Looks like they are aware that there is a lack of broker transparency for shareholder ownership interest in this problem caused by the potential governance of NextBridge Hydrocarbons. So let's look at the last part of the letter, and it states here from Pete Sessions, who is the member of Congress. So shout out again to Pete. Upon initial examination, there seems to be circumstantial evidence. So circumstantial evidence is admissible. It does count, and it is important. Obviously, the blue sheets will give more concrete evidence, shall we say, and that is what I expect to happen, hopefully very, very soon. So Pete's saying it's his understanding you have been provided a large amount of data concerning those issues, so certainly that is possible. Pete is asking for that data to be shared. Hopefully George can do that. We know that several large shareholders of the company MMAT have been working with Wes Christian, who is the attorney, also working with John Berder. And in the final paragraph he say this is interesting. Many members of Congress have been contacted concerning questions about MMTLP, so special shout out and thanks to the MMTLP community for contacting Congress and the members to raise our issue. And he finishes off here by saying, if you can assist us as well as Mr. Christian's team in gathering this information, it will greatly help our efforts to update the REG SHO rules. So again, finishing off there, and there is some important information that is blacked out. So I'm now going to share with you another interesting update, but this time from the Senate. So next shout out goes to my friend Robert Mann, and he's kindly shared this letter that he received back from the Senate. So this is from Roger W. Marshall. So again, special thanks and shout out to Roger W. Marshall. So let's see what he said to Dr. Robert Mann, who has shared this with me by email. So what it states here is, thank you for contacting my office about FINRA, the halting of MMTLP. As your voice in Washington, so Roger Marshall obviously is confirming here he's from Washington. It's important to know we know your thoughts and concerns. Feedback from you is vital to the legislative process and our ability to work for you in the Senate. So he's confirming here with regard to the 9th of December and the halting with the U3 halt of MMTLP by FINRA. Which is reserved for extraordinary events with the material effects affecting the share price of the stock. So the extraordinary event was the case related to the spin-off. So he's talking about that. And third paragraph, he's also saying the matter must be investigated. So that's what I want to hear, to ensure no wrongdoing occurred. I think if we have the blue sheets, if we have discovery, then we will 100% know that there is no wrongdoing. Without that, most of the evidence we have is circumstantial, but remember, circumstantial evidence is still admissible, especially if it builds up and it is significant. Free and open markets will allow a system to function, and just like you and me, large institutions are not able to invest risk-free by rigging the game when they make a bad bet, and all bad actors should be held liable. So that is tremendous. That is excellent, and thank you, Roger Marshall, for saying this, and thank you for responding to my friend Bob Mann for this. And finishing off, he states here, thank you again for contacting my office. Please never hesitate to call me, email me, or write to me if you have any issues or concerns. You can continue to follow the conversation that we are accomplishing in the 118th Congress by checking out my website. So I would urge everybody here to who has qualifies to get help from Roger Marshall to go to his website here. So it's marshall.senate.gov, and hopefully if you can raise any additional information for Roger, that would help significantly. And the final update I'd like to share with you is from Richard Hoffman. So remember, he's the attorney taking Fidelity, the DTCC and FINRA to court. So this is the latest update he shared as of 5th of April 2023. And Richard is saying, Third Amendment complaint adding new data from the 16th 3rd FUQ, I think it means FAQ, and 30th of the 3rd Freedom of Information Act reply will be filed in court this week. Yes, see new paragraphs 14A through to 14. Robert Cook and Gary Gensler, who I see as destructive scumbags, as prominently recognised for their contributions to criminality. So again, there is significant amount of evidence to suggest that and confirm that. So if you have a look at Roger's detailed filing, you will see that. So to finish off, the last thing I would like to share with you here is looking at overall right now, where are we at? So this is what I'd like to just finish off with in terms of a summary. Number one, FINRA has a very important role in the approval and fiasco of MMTLP, so they must be held accountable for that. Number two, FINRA allowed trading with false information. Number three, FINRA knew the SEC approved the S1, including the dates, but panicked near the end, and therefore they issued the U3 halt. So if they state, well, we never knew the dates, okay. If they state the company never gave us the correct information, so, and if they also suggest that the SEC never approved the S1, I could kind of see their point of view. But FINRA knew the S1 was approved, they knew the dates, they knew everything well in advance, but they panicked. So I think they are now in deep, deep trouble. Number four, FINRA are now getting more unwanted attention from the SEC, from the Senate, from the courts, from retail, from Congress, especially with the Freedom of Information Act. However, one of FINRA's defences is blaming coding issues. I'm not sure that's going to stand up in court because it's something that I think is not going to be a strong defence. They're certainly going to need much, much more than that. So conclusion, FINRA is now, in my opinion, defunct. Change is needed. The conflict of interest is damaging the US stock market. Confidence has been eroded. So international investors such as myself, people in Singapore, people in Europe, people in Australia, people in China, people all over the world will be refusing to invest without change. So let's have change, and we want change as soon as possible. And finally, to get our weekly watch list, join our Discord. You can certainly join. Details are in the description below. Thank you very much for watching. Please stay tuned.